Hello guys and welcome to a new Wargame video today by me, Vulcan, and Val.
Hello.
Today we have the second game of the best of three between ANZ and Crna Buksna. On today's game we have another D-Day in Paradise, and over on the red side we have ANZ with Cheer Up, Nandamani and Faust, and over on the blue side we have Crna Buksna with Firestarter, Razman and Dirty D. So what are your thoughts to begin with, Val?
We saw it was a very close game in terms of points last game, but ANZ just strategically kind of outplayed Crna Buksna, I think. So we'll have to see what happens this time. It has been mixed up a bit, I believe. Well, the blue side is basically, they're all the same decks. So Firestarter has a Eurocore deck, Razman has, I believe, a Scandinavian deck, and Dirty D has a full NATO deck. But on the red side, with ANZ, they've changed it up this time. They've gone for a red 4 team, and I do believe we have 2 Soviet decks for Nandamani and Cheer Up, and a Sovco for Faust. However, that being said, they could always have like a B5 or something they've just not brought out. So the Soviet decks could be Soviet Koreans.
Yeah, so it's interesting to see that ANZ has changed to that red 4 side. Of course, they did win the previous game, so they are 1-0 over Crna Buksna, and if they win this game then they move on in the winners bracket of the Reddit tournament. So all to play for really. We need to see 2 wins out of the blue side in order for them to stay in the winners bracket. So do you think that they have a shot of bringing this back after seeing this last game?
I mean, I think they have a shot. Crna Buksna, they are a very good team. You can't discount them. And we have seen ANZ, they've done well in this tournament, but in past games, they have lost. They're not undefeatable. So we'll have to see how this goes. Crna Buksna definitely, they have the capability to bring it back. I think they're definitely skilled enough. We'll have to see if they can outplay the red team. Unfortunately, though, they are a game down, so there's more pressure on them to win this one.
Yeah, for sure. They're not going to be out of the tournament completely. They will drop to the lower bracket if they do lose. But we'll have to see if Blue 4 can come out on top of Red 4 in this game, where most of the time we've seen Blue 4 be beaten by Red 4. So they have a lot of weight on their shoulders in this one. Let's have a quick look at these unit compositions. We've got a few Wildcats in there. We've got the M8 Panzerbills. I'm really liking the Scandinavia again. Although this time round they do have to be more careful about that napalm infantry.
They do, yeah. I mean, it's like you mentioned last game. One of the things that the Scandinavia has is they have really good infantry. However, they're still not as good as the super good napalm infantry the Red 4 can field. So you just have to be a bit careful with that. I think I'd go as far to say as they have the best regular infantry of any coalition in the game. Just because they all have those MG3s, they've got great rocket launchers, great options for basically everything. But again, I do think those elite Red 4 units do much better in towns, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, hopefully Dirty D's Blue Dragon KM 900s with those napalm infantry and can sort of make up the difference there. Over on the red side, we do see a Buratino start. We have 2 Buratinos, one owned by Cheer Up and one owned by Faust. So there's going to be a lot of flames at the start of this map, and we do see Nandamani opting for a few Mi-24Ds with probably Spetsnaz GRU, I would suggest.
Yeah, I think the Spetsnaz GRU will go on a Strelki, but I think I'd lean towards the Spetsnaz GRU. Cheer Up has put some markers on the around Gulf and the town just to the south of Gulf, so I imagine that's where they want to put their napalm.
Yeah, it's probably going to be in both positions indeed, to stop the advance of the opposing team into Gulf. So we're underway now. The vehicle's going to be moving very quickly down these roads towards their objectives. It seems that there's about the same sort of number of helicopters on both sides. We do see Faust sending up a couple of command infantries, 1 to Foxtrot and 1 to India. We have a command infantry for Echo as well. And is there a command unit for Golf just yet? I don't think there is.
No, I don't think so, but this is something that I see relatively often, I think, is that because this Golf sector can be quite volatile, it's not always worthwhile bringing a CV from the start, because you may end up just losing it, honestly. But, I mean, they may have one hidden in somewhere, but not that I can see.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at a blue for CV for Hotel as well. I don't think there is one up there. So, I think they might be a little bit short on points at the start of the game. Already a +2 lead for the red side, so racking up a few points before the blue side CVs come down. We've got the air engagement coming in at the top side, the KA-52 shooting down the Fennec, and it looks like the links there will be taken out by the Mi-24Ds and the KA-52. Also the Scout Defender going to go down, no defense against those Mi-24s, and that is amazing for Faust at the start of the game there. He's going to be able to unload those 2 recon squads and provide some resistance in Hotel very early on.
Yeah, I mean, you have to remember as well that even though the Mi-24s aren't specifically anti-air helos, they're just so good against other helicopters. You know, they've got the 10 HP. They actually have some armor on them as well, and a really nice the Yak B cannon. So you just you need to be careful when you're messing with those with just transport helis.
Oh, that puff there, managing to shoot down the KA-52. Wonderful strike by Razman with that puff. It's not going to go down to the OSA AKM either, so that's a really awesome job there. But these BTR-90s of Cheer Up with the Spetsnaz GRU managing to get into the other side of Golf already. And an Su-25 coming in from Nande Minai. I love the choice of this unit. Wonderful strike there, going to do a lot of damage to the APCs and infantry, and there isn't any anti-air to really shoot that down. The Kratal isn't stopped in order to fire. Su-25 getting out perfectly fine, and that Buratino going to finish off the rest of that infantry.
I mean, the Su-25 is just such a good unit. I mean, the downsides to it is obviously that it's quite slow for a plane, and it doesn't have the greatest DCM, but my god, does it do a lot of damage.
Yeah, we see a Mi-24 took out an FSK unit pretty much for free in the top side of the forest between Alpha and Echo. That was a really nice job there. Holding on to Golf like this, Cheer Up's doing a great job there. And Faust's already putting pressure onto Razman's Scandinavian forces in the top side here, but he has to be careful because he has overextended quite a lot of his units, and they are dying very quickly to the Panzerbills and the Scandinavian APCs.
They are. I mean, there's just a lot of units of that. Buratino coming in there hopefully to try and stall that push. If we take a look down to the bot side though, I think that Nandeminai is going to have a big problem in a minute, because he does not have enough stuff in this town in Echo to protect against this massive set of troops coming in.
Yeah, it seems like Nandeminai's put all of his focus towards that part of the forest below Golf. And you can see all these BTR-80s and BTR-Ds and so on there with the infantry. 3 units of Spetsnaz there going to be able to deal with that FSK unit. But yeah, it has left him vulnerable to the bottom side of Echo, and if the red side don't spot this coming, that is going to be devastating. The amount of Jaegers that they're going to push in there is going to do so much damage.
Well, not just that, but a Crotar in the middle took out the red team CV in Golf, so that's another setback. And we're kind of... It looks very impressive what the red team's doing here. Like, they've taken a lot of control over the left-hand side of Golf, but at the end of the day, that's only a 1-point sector. If the blue team can manage to secure Echo, to attack Echo, and if they can continue pushing like they're doing very effectively from Hotel into India, then they can turn this game around from what seemed to be a bit of a lackluster start into maybe something a bit better.
Yeah, they still had the +2 lead for a while though, so they're 87 points ahead. This Su-25 is trying to deal with these Bell 204s at Delta. They don't know if those have infantry in them or not, so they have to shoot those down. The BRDM-3 doing a good job at the moment of taking out a couple of them. But the Jaegers unloaded now and are starting to make that push into Echo. The Mi-24D is probably going to be taken down by the VAB T-20. Up in the top side, Razman's doing a lot of work, making a lot of ground towards India. And at the moment, Faust only has 3 Yakuday squads in the way of all of that Scandinavian infantry.
This is one of those things. I mean, Faust Mi-24D did kill the CV and hotel, so that is a small point, like a point win. But the positioning he's losing here is just going to be massive. If the blue team can get a hold on India at all, this game is probably over, honestly. Because it is very hard to retake India from the red side spawn, I think.
Yeah, a bell flew directly over the UAZ at Delta. And nearly got into a position where it could fire, but got shot down by the Su-25, so he got away with that. Luckily the helicopter didn't crash into the UAZ actually. But in the top side, yeah, these Swedish troops and Norwegian troops from Razman are going to slowly make ground. Those Gvanmen getting into the same sector as the Yakuday there is massive. That's going to choke those Yakudays for sure, and allow these infantry in the top side forest to keep moving towards India unaffected.
Yeah, Faust has brought some VDV-90 in, which, as we all know, are very, very formidable infantry units, but they have a lot of infantry to contest with, so we'll see how this goes.
Oh, this bottom side push coming into effect now. Echo is being attacked. The Hachi Nanashikis are pushing forwards and taking out these BTR 152s quite well, although at close range those still have AP power, I believe.
They
so
do,
they
yeah,
can take out those Hachi Nanashikis very quickly. The Jaegers pushing on those Spetsnaz screw there, going to be doing a lot of damage to those if they can get in the same compound. But the Jaegers, as soon as they reveal themselves to these BTRs, are getting absolutely chunked. So a lot of this push is falling apart at the moment into Echo. I think the remainder of this game is going to be really reliant on Razman pushing into India.
I think so, because now this has failed slightly. I believe, like, if I were Nandamanai anyway, I'd be getting reinforcements over there. And the way it usually goes is if you fail to take a sector, the enemy usually puts more troops there than they actually need to defend it, so it becomes very hard to attack. So it really, I think, is on Razman to just seize this initiative that he's gaining the top side. And it looks like he can, honestly. He has a lot of troops there, and the red team has pretty much nothing.
Yeah, this Rover RBS 90 has actually spotted the command unit of Faust in India, and that's going to put him in a bad spot if a bombing run comes in and takes that out. It's good to see that Nandim and I did manage to defend Echo against Dirty D, pushing him back for now. An Mi-24D did just get taken out by Dirty D's Puff, and that was doing a lot of work onto infantry, trying to push into the forest on the bottom side of Gulf.
The red team is bringing in a lot of reinforcements though, lots of VDV in these BTRDs, and a T-90S as well, so it turns out Faust was using a Soviet Korean deck.
Yeah, I think there's an equal opportunity that they're going to bring either in. The Soviet deck obviously having more activation points to work with, so you get more of those specialized Russian units, whereas the Sovco suffers a little bit with that. But these VDVs should be able to deal with these Gvanmen and are going to be able to take out these Leopard 1A5s pretty easy with their high AP power infantry rockets. But I think the blue side still know where that command is, so I'm surprised to have not seen a bombing strike come in just yet, especially considering these Puffs have been flying around pretty freely against limited AA from the red side at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the AA, the red team has no AA up on this top side. They have literally nothing. In fact, they don't have anything in Gulf either, do they? Do they have any AA on the map apart from the ZPTUs?
Actually, probably not. It looks like they're going for the majority land forces at the moment with... I guess they're just trying to put their emphasis on these infantry units, which are costing so much money at the moment. You've got the Spetsnaz GRU, you've got VDV, Moskaya 90, normal Spetsnaz, Spetsnaz VMF. They're all very expensive squads, and I can't help but feel this is going to bite them in a little bit once all of these cheaper Scandinavian units mass against them.
I think so. It looks like they have realised this, or at least Cheer Up has, and Nandem and I. They are bringing a Tunguska and a Tor down to this bottom side, but they're still nowhere on the top side, so hard to see. This just makes them so vulnerable to bombing strikes, because, like you were saying, that infantry is so pricey. It really is. And one good bombing strike from, say, the Norwegian F-16A would just demolish it, really.
Yeah, those F-16As just came in on the top side of, on the bottom side of Gulf and bombed a couple of red side units and got away absolutely free from that. So that's you know, good for the blue side, but I also think the blue side made a mistake there. That if they have those bombers, why not bomb this CV in India and get themselves a +2 lead? Because at the moment they're bleeding a +1 lead themselves, since Cheer Up is still holding Gulf, and the red side's actually made a 252 point lead.
Well, I've seen quite a few games this tournament where a team has been appearing to be winning in terms of their positioning, but they just run out of time, and because the other team secured a points lead, they end up winning. So, you know, it's really important for them to make sure that they act fast and try and neutralise this lead.
Yeah, otherwise the blue side's going to be in a very bad spot soon with this 250 point lead overbearing them at the moment. But if you look at the map in general, especially the mini map, you can see the overwhelming number of units in comparison. So at the moment the red side really faltering in India. All of these Gavanmen and the reserve infantry are basically just pushing through these VDV really easily, because the MG3s are just so strong on these reserve infantry squads.
They really are. It's one of the reasons why Scandinavia has such good infantry. They've got those MG3s. Even the reserves have MG3s. That's how crazy they are.
I think the main thing they need to do at the moment is reinforce India with a bunch of Su-122s, and that's exactly what Faust has decided to do. He's bringing those up past the T-72K1 at the moment, and hopefully that's going to be enough to stop this reserve infantry and these Gavanmen. Now, he needs to be careful about where he positions them though, because there is a lot of forest and it's going to leave him vulnerable to be flanked. He has BTR 152s as well with the Yakwa Days, and they're going to be trying to take back the town by the looks of it. Although he hasn't moved this command unit, which is really confusing me. Faust probably knew that they knew where that was for a while now, and I'm just surprised to not see him move it. I guess it's because he has that second CV there capping India.
That's true, but it's still a waste of points though. I mean, CV infantry's 100 points, and that's... You know, you don't want to just lose it like that, just for almost no response really.
Yeah, it seems a bit pointless almost, but Buratino used by Cheer Up in the middle again to stun a lot of infantry pushing into Gulf. But I'm not quite sure these two VDV squads are really going to last against these Marders and Panzer Grenadiers. Panzer Grenadiers being very high quality units. The Panzer Grenadier 90s with the Marder 1 support as well.
Yeah, the blue team's going to get a hold onto this left side of Gulf. And with some of the bombing strikes, I know we did criticise them slightly in bombing there instead of somewhere else, but they still did the job and allowed these FSK to get into position and, you know, send some Fallschirmjäger in as well, down below Gulf.
Another wonderful Buratino strike from Cheer Up there, managing to kill off one of the Panzer Grenadier squads and do a lot of damage to the Jaegers, but the VDV still not able to hold off. The F-16As are coming in here, absolutely free to bomb the T-90 with cluster munitions, taking down the T-90S to 1 health. And that Puff is probably going to get out alive as well, unless that OSA can luckily land a second shot. No, it's out of range. So the Puff going to get away with that, unless it's going to come round and try for a cheeky shot itself, and the OSA AKM does go down.
That's got to be a very ballsy Puff pilot up there. He's doesn't care about the odds. Don't tell me the odds, Lewis.
Yeah, in the top side we can see that Faust has brought himself back against those infantry units that were pressuring him. The BTR 90 Mi-24D there doing a lot of work with its minigun, and the Su-122s as well also doing a good job at taking down a lot of that infantry. So Faust has managed to fend off his push, but Firestarter's made great ground in the middle. His rocket artillery did an amazing job at stunning the tanks on the other side of that field, and that's going to basically make those a lot less effective at providing fire support onto that left side of Gulf.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's just he's done a pretty wonderful job, I think. Although what did catch my attention was down in the bottom near Echo, these Fallschirmjäger found the enemy CV. Although they're probably going to go down to those helicopters.
Faust's MiG-25 PD went down, but he managed to shoot down 2 aircrafts in response. Will the second MiG-25 PD go down? No, it will not. So he managed to shoot down a Puff, and that's going to mean that he can probably start bringing in more seed, although there is a second Puff still flying about. MiG-27 coming in for cheer up. That's probably going to be trying to take out this Leopard 2A1 or even the 1A5 actually.
That was a 2A5 I believe actually, which is why it was so fortunate to take out.
And that MiG almost crashed into the FSK. So yeah, that was interesting, but the VDV there being stunned out immediately by the CQC MG3 of the FSK, but those FSK are going to be soon overwhelmed by Nande Manai. And the red side still got that +1 lead. Blue side are not contesting Gulf, so honestly, this isn't looking very good for the blue side whatsoever. And if the red side win again, this will have won them a place in the winners bracket and moving on to the next round.
Yeah, it's a very interesting game because the blue team it's like they're so close to getting like an almost unassailable lead. Like if they push into India and capture it, then I think they'll just win this game. I think if they can really secure that sector. It looks like Jetty D did bring in a CV for Golfer to neutralise that. So now the bleeding will stop, but that's still 341 points. That's a massive lead.
Yeah, 2 F-16s came in and landed a huge bombing strike onto the bottom side of Gulf and killed off so much infantry. That was ridiculous. The FSK left in that town are going to be able to deal with this Spetsnaz crew, I would assume. And they are going to be able to wipe out the rest of these APCs as well with those Eric's missile systems. Unless, of course, they miss. Yeah, looks like one squad's been taken out there. Maybe the second can be more lucky. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so anyway, the pressure's still on with Razman in the top side. He's beginning to bring up reinforcing reserve infantry against the VDV of Faust. But Faust is surely going to be running out of these VDV anytime soon. I'm pretty sure he's been bringing in a lot of those squads. And if he's not careful, he might run out.
I believe at that veterancy you get 12 per card, I think it is. So yeah, he must be nearly out. Although they finally brought in a lot of AA, but I think right now they actually need more infantry. So
yeah, they notice they don't have enough AA, and now they bring in AA, but they don't need it. So yeah, I think they should have just kept relying on these MiG-25 PDs rather than investing in ground AA. And this MiG-25 PD not even managing to shoot down the F-16A there. Disappointing result for Faust. So that bomber's still going to be alive for a little while longer. The VDV being completely stunned up here by the Browning machine guns of the XAs. And that's going to be taken out. So more ground gained for Razman as he begins to push into India. Now what I would like to see is Razman actually bringing up a command CV in order to contest to that.
I honestly think he should have probably done that a while ago, really, because I think they just need to get a lead at the moment, because the longer they leave it, the more chance of the red team just drawing it out. And if it's a 1-point lead, if it gets to kind of like 10 minutes and it's just a 1-point lead, then the red team can still win.
Well, these F-16A fighting Falcons coming in. One of them died. The other one got out alive, but those bombing strikes, one managed to bomb a helicopter, but they didn't really hit much else other than the Moskaya wow, 2 squads of Mascara actually got killed in India as well, which leaves a lot of room for the Gvarman to kill the VDV. A Fennec TOW 2 going down there to the KA-52. And we do see the Vasilek mortar carriers coming in to try and take care of those Gvarman.
I am such a big fan of the Vasilek. I can't sing its praises enough because it fires so fast. It's a really easy unit. Fire a volley and then move it quickly and then fire again. Because it just barrages really quickly. This CV in the top side, like we were talking about, is coming in for Razman, so this will get them the +2 points lead. And if they can keep that up for the next 20 minutes, they'll definitely win this game, I think.
Yeah, Razman just done such a stunning job of managing to push into India. I think here it's just quality over quantity, or quantity over quality, sorry, as the Home Guard, or Reserve Infantry, have been destroying these VDV squads very easily with the MG3s. It's quite awesome to see, really. And now in the middle, also Firestarter starting to make ground against these tanks as well. The Buratino strike from Cheer Up is not going to be enough there to stop the push. Also the Vasilek's being used. MiG-27 is going to take out a Leopard 2A1, or 2 Leopard 2A1s is that it managed to take out in one run.
It was a 2A5 and a 2A1, so it was even more valuable than that actually.
Wow. Well, these Vasileks firing off another volley, this time onto a 1A5 NO2 in India. And they're getting dreadfully close to this CV now, Faust. He must be under a lot of pressure at the moment to turn things around. This Buratino's waiting to fire again, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that fire onto all those reserve infantry, although the mortars seem to have that covered.
I think at this point though, if you're the red team, you have more to worry about than India, because look at the sector just below Gulf. It's a massive push, and then Firestarter has pretty much secured Gulf really on his own.
And Nandem does not have enough forces to stop this push coming through from Dirty D. All these stormers coming along with the Hachi Nana Shikis right over the hill towards Echo. And that is going to be devastating once that lands. And it's bad enough that they've managed to decap India. So, although they brought in all this AA, now it's just being destroyed by these puffs. Dirty D managing to kill off 2 of those OSA AKs with 1 pass. So, wonderful job there, and it seems the blue side are finally getting some points on the board.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this is kind of a really nice little strategy to take hold of when you're playing this map from the blue team start point. If you manage to secure this section beneath Gulf, a lot of people will try and push all the way, like either up into the Gulf area or to where the bridges are. But this is one of the best and most surprising places for a red team player, because you always expect an attack to come from kind of below the road, below Echo, because that's where the blue team usually has the most control. Because usually the red team controls kind of the forest from the edge of Echo up to the middle of Gulf in most games.
Yeah.
But this can be a real surprise. I mean, just look at all these units coming out of the forest. And
a couple of big points to make. The Buratino of Faust did take out the contesting CV in India with the first rocket it landed, which was just incredibly surprising to me, but managing to pull that one off. We do see Dirty D managing to get these Hachi Nanashikis very close to the command infantry in Echo, and they do not want to leave that, and currently it is very vulnerable. They need to make sure that that escapes, and it has done so far. Only 1 health left on that unit though. The push also coming through in the middle from Firestarter, 2 Leclercs, and plenty of infantry pushing towards this UAZ, which is on 1 health in the right side of Gulf. So things really falling apart for the red team now. It seems they've invested too many points into high quality infantry, and it's really starting to take effect.
yeah, I definitely agree. In the top side, Firestarter has had a lot of sense of mind, because he had a spare CV coming in even before that Buratino was firing in India, although he's not moved it though. He's just unloaded it, so we'll have to see when he moves that into India.
Oh, this is just wonderful. Like I just love these Swedish APCs. The XA180s they have like 2 front and 2 side armor, and it means that these BTR-90s are having a really hard time killing them on the road, when otherwise they would get taken out very easily. And it's just so awesome to see like the effectiveness of those APCs from the Swedish.
Well,
the Norwegian, sorry, aren't they?
Yeah, the Norwegian. They actually, the upgraded version, the X18 XNO, has 3 front armor and side armor. So these are honestly probably to my knowledge, the most heavily armored, like fast APCs in the game, I think.
Yeah, we can see that finally this push from Dirty D has taken full effect. He's got loads of stormers into the town down there. He managed to kill the CV, and now the blue side has the +3 lead over their opponent, and that is going to increase as they do take out the T-72K1 in India. So now a +5 lead for the blue team, which is soon going to be +7 as Firestarter moves his command infantry into India. So, well, they've just got the fruits of their push, really, haven't they, from doing this?
I mean, when I saw what was happening, I kind of expected that the way for Blue 4 to win would just be to contest India until they won. I didn't think they'd be at +7, honestly. This has turned around.
The whole
really
front
fast.
has just fallen apart for the red side. It's incredible to see just how effective the Blue 4 side has been against Red 4, when most of the time we've seen Red 4 win out. And I think mainly it's due to the fact that this kind of map doesn't necessarily suit a Red 4 Yukwade SU-122 push kind of strategy, because there is too many forests on the map in order to pull that off. The SU-122s would never have enough range to be effective.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I think just great use of these. I think at the end of the day, I think Blue 4 has much more cost-effective infantry in general. I mean, obviously there's exceptions, like the Yukwade are really cost-effective, but you know, Jaegers, 10 points, absolutely brilliant. You've got what other units, like the reserve, the Scandinavian reserves that we saw being used in the top side are just, considering that, you know, they have an MG3 for a 10-point reserve squad, so it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, they're better than the Yukwades for sure. Like the Yukwades cost the same amount, I think, and but the Swedish reserve are just so much better.
It really is. I mean, the problem with the Swedish reserve is that I think they're only 10 man, so they don't have the staying power of the Yukwades, but they're just so much more effective at actually fighting.
Yeah, so we see these Jaegers cleaning out this forest now, following up after the Stormers pushed through originally. And you can see that this +7 lead has reduced to a +1 lead, as Nandamanai has brought up a CV into Echo, and it looks like Faust has managed to recover his position slightly in India, although that's not going to last very long, as we do still see these Rima approaching and the FSK from the blue side. Firestarter there in combination with Razman, continuing that push and pressure onto the command unit there. So that command infantry is going to go down, probably to the VAB machine gun. There we go. And the T-80 swiftly following as the Rima hit that with a heat missile.
Yeah, I think that the red team really has to... Remember, they do still have the point lead. If they can, like, manage to get themselves back into this game, it's still winnable. But at the moment, it looks really unlikely. The blue team is just securing a very nice hold onto India. Very soon, Firestarter's forces, just kind of above Gulf, will be able to cut off that bridge that crosses from Buksna to India.
Yeah, I think they're going to be able to cut off most of the bridges, to be honest, over onto here. And, well, it'd be good to see another command unit come in to India. It looks like we do have one on the way from Dirty D, and Otis Kado is coming up in order to capture that, because currently a +3 lead once again, without a red side CV in India. But quite a nice Buratino strike there onto some reinforcing infantry of Rasman, but these FSK are the things that are really doing the damage at the moment against the Yukwade squads. That FSK holding up so well.
FSK is just a fantastic special forces unit. Not only do they have that amazing IMG3 for CQC, but they also have the Eric's missile, which, you know, we've we've sung the praises of the Erics quite a few times, but even though it doesn't have the HE value of the individual support Eric squads, it's still an absolutely brilliant infantry weapon.
Yeah, the Cassiope here, look at that. It's taking down an MI-28 all by itself. The Crowtown now in range is going to help out, but MI-28 going down anyway. And, well, this T-72A with 1 health, pushing its luck a bit, trying to head back towards India, but India now fully under the control of the blue side. We do see, though, that command infantry unit of Firestarter will just stay alive after that Buratino strike. So now, blue side looking to take the lead in this game for the first time, and probably the last time, as they will probably win the game off that, basically.
I think they will do. This has been a really exciting game, but I think just what you said earlier about the red team just using too many expensive units really rang true. Because they brought up all that expensive stuff and they didn't bring in any a lot of air at the same time. Like, I believe one F-16A managed to kill, I think it was 2 units of Moskaya, half the unit of VDV, and 2 units of Spetsnaz in 1 bombing strike. And that's, what's that? That's nearly the price of a heavy tank.
Yeah, so we can see the red side really just throwing away units now. A couple of Mi-24Ds now went down to Rover RBS 90s and Crotals. And a lot of the VDV squads actually dying to the Eric's squads of Dirty D. So this is just pretty much it. The blue side has won this game. I don't really see a way other than cheesy sort of round the map bombing strikes. There is no way that the red side's going to win now. They just don't have enough units on the map to push this back, or enough time for that matter, as a +5 lead does add up very quickly.
Yeah, I think, you know, they tried a lot of valiant efforts to try and recapture India and try and stem the tide of all these pushes in Gulf and Echo, but at the end of the day, the blue 4 was just so relentless. All those Scandinavian units on the top side really, really working out well.
And buffing their points ratio a bit, that Mi-28 did take out a Leclerc, but goes down itself, so never mind, that just sort of cancels that completely. MiG-25 PD is going to go down to the F-16A MLU, and that looks like it's surrender vote from the red side as the blue team secures their victory on this map. And that was just such a wonderful game from the blue side, managing to just completely build up enough forces to make those pushes go through. It was on the brink for so long, and then finally the floodgates opened and the blue team just swept the map entirely with their more cost-effective infantry, and I would say they're better APCs in this game. But after 33 minutes and 23 seconds, it looks like Crna Buksna is going to take the second game of the best of 3 and bring it up to 1-1 as we go into the final game. So, what did you think of that, Val?
I thought that was a cracking game, because it really shows that even if you don't have the best start, because the red team, I think, definitely won the sort of early game period. At least it seemed to me like they got a lot of really nice positioning, especially on the top side and in Gulf. But they just petered out, and then this giant swarm, this tidal wave of blue 4 forces just rolled over them, and like you said, it just built up and built up and built up until it just crashed through.
Yep, that's exactly it. We can just see by the kill-loss ratio how effective the blue side forces really were. I think every player has a positive ratio. Razman only just with that Scandinavian deck. But definitely did a lot of work in that top side, especially after Faust managed to get those Mi-24Ds with the Spetsnaz grew so far up. But I think just the concentration of the forces out of the Scandinavians managed to pick off those probing forces very quickly, and it left the red side very vulnerable to a counter push because they'd used too many points investing in those early positioning, and that caught them out for sure.
I definitely agree. And it's kind of like we saw as well a slight problem in a reaction to these large pushes, is that, and this happens all the time, and you can't really fault people for doing this because it's like the natural reaction of what you should do. But when you have this giant push come through, what happened was, Faust, for example, in the top side, he kept reinforcing one unit at a time, but that like 1 unit or 2 units wasn't enough to actually stop the push. Potentially, what he should have done was like gathered units and then counter pushed with an actual large group of units, rather than just trying to plug in gaps in the hole one by one and then just not quite having enough.
Yep, that is another very, very good point. Yeah, Faust, he could have built up those forces for sure. And again, it comes down to the concentration of Razman's forces. Because they were so much cheaper, he had so much more of them in the same place, and they were just overwhelming the single squads coming out from the opposing team. But anyway, I think we've pretty much summed it all up. So I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this one. We'll be moving on to the third game tomorrow. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Bye.